Let's talk about Rick Ross for a second. He's been in the news. Well, he's always in the news, but just several days ago, a lot of videos have surfaced. Several videos have surfaced of him being with his supermodel girlfriend or then girlfriend, and he just dumped her. And I want to use this as a segue to talk about emotional intelligence and why that's important in relationships as we navigate the tributary streams, lakes, and oceans of life. I'm your host, Bearded Aquarian, and we're gonna get started right after this intro. So let's talk about ego for a second. So the ego is a part of emotional intelligence, and really, ego is an emotion. And so there's nothing more terrible than to be in public and you try to initiate some form of public display. Now, let me say this: that there are some couples that are not that affectionate in public, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you see a clear sign of rejection, which is what we've been seeing with these videos that just recently surfaced. Rick Ross's ego has been probably bruised. So this brother is wealthy. He's this accomplished musician, rapper, producer, etc., and he has plenty of that. But as they say, or the old proverb is that you cannot negotiate attraction. Either it's there or it's absent. And in this case, it looks like it's absent. And so I want you to pay attention real quick because this is sort of an exercise in using our emotional intelligence and EQ, which is emotional intelligence for short. All it is just being able to read the room. It's being able to understand the energy because every person puts out a form of energy, and you have to learn to master that so that you don't get caught up in a bad relationship or bad business deal or just bad things. Period. You have to learn how to read the room properly with your emotional intelligence, and that also involves in relationships. And so Rick Ross he probably was feeling like, dang, she's not feeling me like that, but he kept pressing this thing, and as you can see, clearly she's present, but her mind is probably on the other side of town, and she wishes she was with whoever the other guy is or whoever she used to be with. So we got to be mindful and be careful of that when we're dealing with anybody. And this is unisexual advice. This isn't just for men. This could be for women. When you have disagreements and problems in private, you try to navigate those problems and fix those issues and problems. But at the same time, when things get public, to me, though, that's one of those. I would say it's a difficult infraction to get over because you should never get to that point where you feel the need to reject a person. I would say, even if you ain't into that person, at least all you gotta do is peck them on the lips. And I probably wouldn't be doing this video, and everybody else wouldn't be talking about it, but this thing has bubbled to the surface. So I want to talk about what I believe to be the 5 pillars of emotional intelligence and why it matters. And the first thing is self-awareness. You got to understand who you are as a person, and that's knowing your patterns and your habits. For instance, if you know you go out and you drink too much, then you probably need to take it slow, or you probably need to make sure that you have a buddy with you as a designated driver to make sure that you get home safely and that you don't harm or hurt anybody else. The second pillar is going to be emotional regulation. That's controlling your reactions. That was very important because, again, as I said early on regarding ego is always going to be in the room. And our ego is what sometimes has us hell bent on getting back at the person, hell bent on being this emotional person that's dramatic and causing all this drama and becoming an energy vampire. You have to regulate your emotions. You need to learn to be, or we all should learn to be more emotionally resilient or stoic, even in times of peril, even when there's some type of issue that most people feel the need, to react to. The best reaction probably is a subtle one because that will probably confuse or have your other person perplexed. Third one is empathy. Empathy also, they're all important. They're the 5 pillars, of course, is understanding how the partner feels. And so we need to actively, openly communicate. And I'm sure that Rick Ross probably was communicating with her and talking to her. And I'm certain that now he saw that she just wasn't into him. I can't explain it any further. She's just not into him. And he needed to understand and use some won't say some form of empathy. I would say that she needed to use some empathy and just basically she should have just broke it off. But thankfully for him, or good for him, that he decided to break it off. Fourth pillar is going to be communication. That's expressing the truth without destruction. When you're not feeling somebody, when you're not just, it's not working, it's important, especially early on, to just say it. And people have difficulty in talking about it. People have difficulty in saying stuff. They will act a certain type of way, and they won't be, always say that nonverbal communication is important. Nonverbal communication, 90% of communication is nonverbal. It's posture, it's eye contact, it's lack thereof, it's the ability to touch, it's the ability to do all these things. And even when you're being intimate, you can literally tell if the attraction is there. And I'll leave you also with some food for thought. And then I do the fifth and the last one, which is boundaries, is if you haven't seen this, for the fellows, if you haven't seen your woman's 50 Shades of Grey, then you probably want to question yourself in terms of, why haven't you experienced that with your woman? And so if you don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is, it's a movie, I believe it's a book, and it's just basically, it explores the depths and the boundaries of sexuality. And if you happen to watch the movie, and I recommend you watch the movie, not for the sake of entertainment, but for the sake of emotional intelligence and understanding when the attraction level is off the meter. And that's how your experience should be with your partner, male or female. Your experience should be where the passion is immeasurable. And if the passion is immeasurable, there will be public displays of affection. Think about Grant and Tamia, the singer, right? And we all know who Grant Hill is. That couple's been married for over 25 years. I think this year is 26 years. So there undoubtedly has to be some immeasurable level of passion and devotion and dedication, and obviously public display of affection, because they are truly in love with one another. And in this case, with Rick Ross, there was never any love in the first place. She was just, I won't say along for the ride, because she's a supermodel. She has her own money. Everybody knew her before. Most people knew who she was before she got with Ross. But, as they say again, as I mentioned earlier, that you cannot negotiate attraction. If it's just not there, then it's just not there. Which leads me into the last and the final pillar. It's going to be boundaries. It's knowing when to love and when to let go. This is for everyone. We have most likely experienced some decision in our life where we have had this conundrum and we need to make a decision, and we are afraid, and we stand between the line. And one side of us, our emotional side, wants to hold on to the person. The logic side says no, move on. But you have to make a choice, and you have to make a choice. And it's one of those things, it's just a reaction. You can't think about it. You just have to do it. And it hurts to part, but sometimes it's for the best. And I applaud Rick Ross for using his EQ to read the room, to understand that it just wasn't there. But unfortunately, it wasn't there, but we had to see it. And so he has a little bit of embarrassment, but he'll bounce back. He's Rick Ross. He's going to be cool. He's going to be all right. He has a legion of fans, and he's always putting out new stuff. So again, he'll be all right. His ego's a little bruised, but we've all been bruised as playing with kids, right? I'm just using this sort of as an analogy. And what do? We scrape our knee, we put a Band-Aid, and we go back to playing, and eventually you'll heal, you'll move on from it. So you have to know and understand different situations. You have to understand how to read the room. If it's not there, it's just not there. If you meet somebody and y'all talking and you text her, she's taking a long time to text, it's just not there. She's texting somebody else, or she's showing her 50 Shades of Grey to somebody else. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so Rick Ross's ex-girlfriend now, supermodel, is she not the villain? She's not the bad person, right? That some people may try to portray her. She just wasn't attracted to him. And so she, in a sense, should have been a little more mature and broke it off instead of him having to break it off, because it's just not there. This is how you protect yourself from being hurt. This is how you protect yourself from the foolishness, because again, the dating landscape today is just very chaotic, and it's not beneficial to either party at this point, at least not here in the States. So let me know how you feel. Let me know if you want to bring some examples in the comments and want to engage. This is Talk My Ish. This is Bearded Aquarian. I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.